Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Stay at Home and Brew It. I'm Brock Tornga, and with me today,
Jeff Perot.
And today we have a special episode, guys, because we're deep within the halls of our Pro Brew Supply studio here. I bet you a lot of you didn't know that we had a Pro division. We do. We supply, I would say, the southern half of the United States, craft brewers all over the place with raw ingredients. Chemicals, brew hose, fittings, you name it, Jeff. We do a little bit of all of it.
Bulk grains?
Bulk grains,
Bulk
absolutely.
hops?
Bulk hops, yes. We have a dry yeast strain,
Nice.
in-house dry yeast strains as well. We do a little bit of everything. And we work with these guys all the time. We get a lot of questions from new brewers that were home brewers and are just opening up their stores and their breweries. And a lot of times there's problems transitioning there. We also consult the pro side as well.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty interesting little thing there that we also do.
So, you go to your favorite brew pub or brewery, ask them where they get their stuff, If you have a chance, ask them where they're getting their malt from or their hops. You might be surprised. They may be getting it from right here. And if they're not, maybe you should ask them why they aren't.
That's a great thought.
Because we got some great malt and some great hops and a lot of great equipment.
We sure do. Okay, so our show today. You
Yes.
see we've got some bottles lined up here. We've got some various machinery looking kind of stuff and whatnot. We're going to get into capping.
Now, as unexciting as it may sound, it actually is one thing, which is oftentimes necessary, especially early on if you're just doing bottling. Also, it can be very necessary if you're wanting to send bottles off for competitions or even bottle beers as gifts for friends or family or neighbors or things like that.
Sure, absolutely. A lot of times we'll bring in what we brew at home for each other to share, and a good crisp bottle is
Yeah.
always a good way to go.
Yeah. So we've had a few people that have contacted us that have said that they sometimes find it difficult to cap their bottles and have, even had times where they've broken bottles. Now, Brock, have you ever broken a bottle while capping it, or?
I've always had pretty good luck, Jeff.
Okay.
So it does happen. I've seen my brew partners do it, but I'm so good that that's never happened to me yet. So.
Whew. And there's, hey, Ryan. We got Ryan. We got Justin Holman watching with us too.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things. Actually, I've broken a couple of bottles, and I tried to figure out why. And one of the things I noticed was, when I was bottling it, I have one of these lever cappers at home, and actually I've got the same one. I was telling Tyler earlier, I've got the same one that I bought like 14 or 15 years ago when I first started brewing. I still have that same capper I'm using today.
Named after a famous Van Morrison song.
Oh, really?
Gloria.
Ah, okay.
Gloria.
Nice. Very nice.
I'd sing it for you.
That's maybe later.
Okay.
Maybe later. And it's one of those things to where a couple times I was breaking bottles and I couldn't figure out why, and found out one thing was, I was trying to put, the super muscle down on it and thought I had to, well, if I cap it, one way, well, if I really cap the living daylights out of it, then, that's better. And it wasn't. And I started breaking some bottles. And another thing was, for a time I was getting some bottles that were a little bit different than the ones we have in front of us. And it was really hard to kind of get it set on there. And, I'd have this kind of a thing and it felt like it was kind of wobbling and I'd chip the top or something like that. And it was frustrating. And so it was actually the bottles I was using.
Okay. So now, was there the wrong size top on there, or was it just a poor quality bottle?
It was the wrong size top. Now, one of the things you'll notice on the bottles that we have here, these are kind of your standard beer bottle, which, I don't know, do we want to use the Tyler cam? Is it on or? Okay.
Ready when you are.
All right. So these bottles right here are a little bit, you'll notice that as you look at the top of the bottle, you got like a little bit of a lip here, and then you got kind of a little bit more of a substantial lip that's right underneath it. Now what happens is when this bottle capper, the double lever, comes down, it's going to grasp onto the lip right down here and be able to go ahead and make sure that it can really cap the bottle on there. It holds it tight and then crimps the cap on. I've found sometimes you'll see bottles that have a little less of a lip right here, and because of that, it doesn't have as much to hold on to, so it's not very steady, and it ends up kind of wobbling a little bit.
Okay.
And so, I don't know, can we maybe use the Tyler cam
Yeah,
to show a little bit?
Absolutely. Let's fire up the Tyler cam here,
All right.
Tyler. There
So-
we are. We're active, Jeff.
So you'll see this has kind of a significant lip right here. And that really enables the capper to grab hold of it as you're going down and hold and put the cap on it. you'll sometimes see ones, and sometimes they're commercial ones, which this lip part right here is much smaller.
Okay.
And actually, for a short time, we actually had some of those here at TBI, but we ended up getting rid of them because the fact that they were really difficult to cap. So we got better bottles. We've had these for a while now, and so we can go back to the regular.
We're good there, Tyler.
And so one is to take a look at what kind of bottle you're using. I've also seen people that try and get the reuse a twist-off cap, from their friends who drink a whole lot of the Bud Miller Coors stuff, and they got the twist-offs.
Yeah, for sure.
And those you can't really cap
Nope,
with these either.
they're not reusable
No.
by any means. Now, can I, if I cap this bottle, can I pop it, drink it, and reuse this?
You can. You actually, if you make sure you wash it real well and clean it out, you can reuse it. But one problem with that can be you need to make sure you really clean it very well, because if you don't, then you can easily get some sort of little residue in there that'll trap bacteria and can infect your later batches of beer, and that's not pleasant at all. So in particular, what I do when I'm getting ready for competitions is I actually buy new bottles, just because I want to make sure that the bottle's in its best shape and the beer's in its best shape possible to do as well in competition as possible. But for those of y'all, if money's a little tight, and we all know money's tight now for many of us, just make sure you wash them out really well. You might even give them a soak in PBW or Brew Clean.
Yep, absolutely. And we have a couple of nice little things too. There is a there's just a nice little brush that you can get down there, really scrub the sediment out of the bottoms of those bottles. There's also their Express Carboy brush. They have one for a bottle. You put on an electric drill, you go in there and spin it. It works really well for cleaning as well.
Nice.
If you really want to get down in there and clean. But yeah, so definitely for competition. I would maybe use a new bottle, but if you don't, clean it really well.
Yeah.
Now, again, for competition, they want one 12-ounce bottle.
Correct.
Right? Unlabeled.
Correct.
Ready to go, so they can do it. They don't want some kind of fancy Belgian bottle or anything like that.
But some of y'all may want to put your beers in bottles such as that. But before we get to that, let's talk about we've got the bottles, and we talked about, of course, you can buy the caps.
He needs to do that right away. He needs to do that now.
We got the caps, and these caps you can buy. We've got silver ones. We got all kinds, orange and gold and green and all kinds of different colors. We got ones with American flags on them, and ones that are temperature sensitive. Will let you know when it's all cold.
Oh, I love the cold activated ones.
Yeah.
That's a little pint on the top of it. Turns blue whenever it's cold.
Yeah, it's really
awesome.
cool. And so we've got a number of different caps, but you cannot reuse bottle caps. Once you've used it, that's it.
So I just pop that cap off there. We can't reuse this?
Correct. We can't
Well,
use.
why not?
Well, because what has happened is these caps. It's kind of hard to tell from there. We can maybe use the Tyler Cam in a little bit, but these are kind of flared out. And whereas once it's been crimped around, the bottle cap will look very different. It's all crimped around. Plus, in the process of removing the bottle cap, it's one of these things to where it'll sometimes mess up and bend the bottle cap, and that's not going to work.
Now, something else I've noticed whenever I've bought my caps, Jeff, is it says that it has an oxygen barrier. Is that important to have a cap with an oxygen barrier?
It can be, especially if you are going to keep the beer for a little while, because one of the things you don't want is oxygen creeping into your beer. Then these caps, as great as they seal sometimes, unless they're the oxygen barrier caps, can allow oxygen to get into your bottle and oxidize your beer.
Okay. And oxidation is bad?
It is, because then what ends up happening is the beer can end up tasting like wet cardboard, which
But I thought we fed the beer oxygen whenever we brewed it.
we do. And when it's fermenting, making sure you have some oxygen in there for the yeast to be able to ferment the beer is important. However, once the beer is fermented, you don't want oxygen being put into your beer, because it'll oxidize it, change the color of it, and then, like I said, make it taste like wet cardboard, and that is not good.
Not very pleasant at all.
Okay, good. Kronk is gone.
All right, thank you. Or not, apparently.
Okay.
All right, so we have a couple of different cappers here, Jeff. Have you ever? You said you had one of these. Have you
Yes.
ever owned a bench capper?
I have never actually owned a bench capper. I've always used these lever cappers, but we've got two different styles here of cappers. The bench or the lever capper is a little more common, a little less expensive. The bench capper is a little more pricey, but definitely more sturdy, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of one of these things like, how often do you bottle? I mean, you bottle in for your competitions. I mean, if you keg everything, then, absolutely going and investing in something like this probably isn't worth it. If you bottle lots of beers, if you give away lots of beers, you just like doing bottle conditioning, then the bench capper is definitely your way.
Yeah.
Plus, there's a couple of little things that this one can do that this cannot, right?
Oh,
So you had
okay.
mentioned earlier about, maybe I want to do this fantastic Belgian beer or something, and I want it bottle conditioned, which is kind of the traditional way that the Belgians did most of their ales, was bottle conditioning. And this guy here actually has a different top. It's 29 millimeter top, right? Which is different than your standard 12-ounce beer bottle cap. Okay. So you need a little bit different equipment here. And what you have to have is a capper bell that will fit the 29 millimeter caps, right? So they're just slightly larger, okay? And if you can see, we were kind of looking at stuff here. Maybe Tyler. Let's get this active on here. Yep, please. All right, so you can just see how the top of this Belgian bottle is a heck of a lot thicker than whenever we move over here to our 12-ounce bottle. And it's just a very much larger.
Yeah, we can actually, here, we can put them side by side and see.
Yep. Absolutely
They're very,
perfect.
very different in size.
Okay, so a lot of times somebody will come off, and that's fine, Tyler, thank you. A lot of times, yeah, thanks, Casey. I appreciate it. I don't know what's going on here today. But a lot of times you'll end up with these bottles, and I'll go to cap it with something like my Gloria, and this doesn't work. We actually need to get a different size capper bell.
Yes.
And it'll screw right into where the bench capper is,
Okay,
right?
right
So,
there?
Yep, absolutely. So all you have to do is switch that out, get yourself some 29 millimeter caps, and you too can now bottle yourself a Belgian bottling.
Which can become very handy if you're doing some of the Belgians that have a higher level of carbonation, like a triple or a double, or even like a Belgian Golden Strong. Those are oftentimes ones that will need to have a higher level of carbonation, and the glass is thicker, and so it can handle that higher level of carbonation. So we've had a few people who have had sometimes some struggles with the lever capper. And now one of the things to remember is these are not meant to be something where you got to be the Incredible Hulk and just bear down on it and try and really push really hard. It actually is meant to be fairly easy. Just kind of lever action. You'll have a moment where you'll feel like it clicks, and that's done. If you bear down any further, which sometimes you feel like you can, then you run the risk of breaking the bottle or chipping the top of the bottle as well.
Yep, absolutely. So really easy thing. And guys, just remember, every time you're bottling everything, it has to be sanitized, right?
Yes.
All of the bugs have to be killed out of there. So one of the easiest things to do, Jeff, is what we always did was we just took a bucket of sanitizer, dunked the bottles in there, and then actually just every time I pulled them out, I stored them upside down to get most of that sanitizer out of there.
Okay.
So just as long as you have they do make bottle trees and stuff like that as
Yeah.
well, which are really nice. Plastic, you can hang these on there to dry. It gets most of the sanitizer out. Now, is it okay if a little bit of sanitizer is left in the inside of that bottle?
It is, because most of the sanitizers, like whether it's Ace-A-San or Star San, are meant to be something which are food safe.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't want a whole lot in there because nobody wants a whole lot of sanitizer in their beer. You want beer in your beer.
All right, so we've sanitized this bottle now, and something that people forget too is your cap that's about to go on that needs to be sanitized as well. This was put together in some warehouse. It may or not had been dusty at some point, and then into some bag. Somebody has touched these things, and then they came from the manufacturer too.
Correct.
So they need to be sanitized as well. So just pick you up a handful of them. Make sure that you're in a little bowl of sanitizer or something like that. Pick one out as you're going to go. How about your capper? We might as well just dunk that right into the sanitizer as well, right? And any sort of moving parts on here, that sort of thing.
Definitely
where
can.
any sort of microorganisms could be hiding in there. Now, there's a little magnet.
Yes.
Right in the middle of this guy, which is really nice because you can just slap your cap right on in there, right?
Mhm.
Why don't we just
So we'll show you
let's
now.
fire up the Tyler cam here.
Okay. Gonna show the magnet.
Wow, this is
Oops, did it die?
we died.
All right, that's all right. That's right, no problem. So within it, as Brock was saying, there's a little magnet that the cap can stick to. But when you're capping your bottle, a couple things. One is as you place it on the top, so as we have it here, you'll have it on the top like that. Just rest it nicely. Make sure that it's nice and level. You don't want it sitting over to the side or anything like that. You want to kind of keep it nice and even. Then you bring down the levers. You'll see that the two little metal pieces right here begin to grip the bottom of that lip on the bottle. And then you just gently push down like that. And that's all you have to do. Sometimes people feel like they need to press harder. That's when you can sometimes run into problems with breaking the bottle or chipping the lip of the bottle, and that's not good.
Okay, let's go again.
So let's see, we pull it up, it's capped. So we'll grab another one.
You got your partner. There
Yep.
you are.
And this is easier with somebody else, but if you don't have somebody with you, you can do it by yourself, and it's not too difficult. So again, it comes down, it grips the lips of the bottle, and you push down. There you go.
Boom.
Done.
Just like magic. And you go again. Rinse and repeat, Mr.
All right, and you keep at it. And so that is actually a great way to bottle the cap or cap your bottles. Now, there's also the bench capper, as Brock was talking about, which is a little different.
I actually prefer the bench capper.
Really?
Again,
Okay.
if you have a lot of bottles that you're doing, guys, this is around $40-$45, something like that, to get you a bench capper, and it works very well. And you can do a lot of bottles very, very easy. So as you can see, are we okay?
I think so.
Are we doing okay? As you can see, you just put that guy right down to where you need to go and cap. Let's go ahead and cap one, shall
Okay,
we?
sure.
So there's kind of a locking mechanism. If this guy is down, this bottle won't move, right?
Okay.
So, but all you have to do is get that guy up or down.
Okay, let's put
and
the cap
again, we're
on.
going to want this whole thing to be sanitized, right? And then, bam! Oh, we didn't work, did we?
Okay.
There we are, and you're done. And again, now without the help of my partner, right?
Okay, okay.
It
See
becomes
how
a
you
pretty,
do
pretty easy deal here.
Okay.
Just come on, bring her on down. Oh, fit in there tight. Let's just struggle a little bit,
Okay.
because it wouldn't be a good TBI show if we didn't, if we
Exactly.
didn't struggle, right?
There always has to be a little bit of struggling.
There you go. Now, you can wear these in a little bit too. So it's brand new, it's never been used, right?
Correct.
So it's going to be a little bit stiffer on there. However, if you got a bunch of them to roll, this is absolutely your way.
Okay.
Do yourself a favor, get you a little something something.
Okay.
What is going on today?
Not sure. But one advantage to also this style of capper is you can handle the larger bottles. So, it's one of these things to where, it drinks very nicely to be able to put the larger Belgian bottle in there with a different bell and to be able to, cap it and be able to do it quite comfortably. So, with that, let's see. Do we have any questions so far?
So you could take this if you had some imposter, say on Facebook or something like that, and you could also use this as some sort of a weapon here.
Some troll on your Facebook
So
feed?
I love.
down under.
Yeah, absolutely. So I always love when you can have a unitool, right? It doesn't do just one thing, right? So this could be used as
Probably good
as several. So
And for zombies, too.
a zombie apocalypse.
We're getting close to Halloween. This may be great for fending off the zombies of
Although
Halloween.
the best thing I think though is that metal mash mouth.
Don't mash.
Right, you can push the zombies away.
Yeah.
You can also split the skulls. It's a good thing.
All right.
But I think we're pretty solid.
All right.
on
So, a
capping.
couple things in recapping, like that.
I did.
Is when you're capping with bottles, you usually have two really good methods of doing so. We've got both these here at TBI that you can order, and the bench capper as well as this double lever capper. One is to remember to use good bottles, clean bottles. And the good ones are the ones that have a little more of a significant lip. Next thing to remember is you don't have to bear down on it like the Incredible Hulk. It's an easy motion if you're using the double lever. If you're using the bench capper, might be a little bit more until you've worked it in. And so, just kind of make sure you do it nice and easy. Again, you don't have to muscle the living daylights out of it. And, have fun with it.
Absolutely. So I think that's probably the most important thing is just don't overdo it, guys. You know, just get a little feel. Everything that you do in your life, I think if you do with just a little bit of finesse.
We have a question from Casey Kirkpatrick. He says, when I bottle, it leaves an indentation in the cap. I've tried to adjust it, but the cap doesn't fit as well. Does that bottle capper have thinner adjustment settings?
Which kind of capper do you have, Casey? Is it the lever capper?
Yeah, if you can let us know what.
On the top of your cap, you're pushing way too hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you might want to kind of alter a little bit, and you still probably get a seal. I think I know what you're talking about because it's one of those old red double lever cappers. Which, W, what were those called?
It was the
They're called-
Italian.
Baron or Emily, maybe?
Okay, and I've got one of those, and I know what you're talking about. I mean, you can cap it, but then it will allow you to bear down a little further, and then it'll put a little indentation in the cap from the
I had
magnet.
some springs in the handles there or something that
Yeah.
help it kind of retract.
And the
so-
indentation happens because of the magnets that's on the inside. It's a smaller magnet than this Gloria capper, and maybe try and experiment with it. I've seen that if I just cap it to where it's crimped, it's fine. And if as long as I don't go the extra kind of effort on that one, or kind of pushing it past the point where
Yeah.
it puts the indent in, and it's still capped pretty well. Okay, he says he has the lever with the plastic single lever with a disc in the middle. Okay, that sounds like we're talking about.
I think, Casey, you're just using a little bit too much force, dude. Your raw brute strength and madness there. Maybe
Yeah.
just back off that.
We got
just
César from Mexico. Hi, ¿cómo está César? Okay, César, él tiene una pregunta. He has a question. Or he says, we hope we're doing well. We're doing well, staying busy. He says, the bench capper good for short lip bottles as well? Yes, it is. And actually, it's probably better for the short lip caps than.
Because it doesn't need to have anything to grab underneath of there to create that force, right?
Correct. This the lever one needs these little pinchers in here to grip the bottom of the lip to press down, whereas this is simply pushing it over the top.
Yep. It's just
So-
using the force of the bottom to push that back up.
So actually, this would be a great one if you have a lot of those short lip bottles. All right. Anything else?
No, I don't know. I like this one. You like this one. Change my mind. No, I
This
think
one's
we're
good,
pretty good. Should we thank the people?
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to apologize for this troll that was in our feed today, guys. We're going to make sure that that doesn't happen again. It's very distracting for all of us, I think, here on the family team. Also, just wanted to thank everybody for your continued support here at TBI and also Pro Brew Supply.
Yes. And we appreciate it. I mean, and like we were saying earlier, when you go to check out your favorite brewery or brew pub, ask them where they get their supplies and ingredients. If they don't get them from us, ask them why, because we got some great stuff. And we appreciate all of you home brewers who've been ordering. Keep the orders coming. We enjoy seeing what you're brewing.
Yep, absolutely. Again, with your questions, we love you guys have been commenting in the comment sections on the orders. We love you reaching out through the tickets, our live chat on our site. Jeff has really kind of taken that over, so most of the time you'll be speaking with him. But we love those questions. We love answering those questions, and it's a good way to reach out to us. We like interacting with you guys. Unfortunately, our storefront is still closed as of now, and I don't kind of foresee that changing in the near future. I apologize about that. But we're going to do our best to serve you guys any way that we possibly can.
Indeed.
All right, Jeff.
So
I don't have a beer to cheers you with
I know,
today.
me either. So
I cheers you with my coconut water.
I could choose you with an empty bottle, but that sounds very bad.
All right, well, anyway, until then, stay safe
Stay at home.
and brew it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I think we're still live.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Brock's mom.